Hello dear students. In this video, I am going to start chapter 5, Challenges to and Restoration of the Congress System. This was the old name of the chapter and the new name is Parties and the Party Systems in India. This chapter has been taken from your textbook in Political Science class 12th, Politics in India since Independence. Students, do you remember that in chapter 2, we started about the emergence of the Congress system? Do you remember? In 1960s, this system was first challenged. When the political system grew more intense, the Congress found it very difficult to continue its dominance. Congress faced challenges from the opposition that became more powerful and also less divided than before. Not only that, but also the party faced challenges from within as it could no longer accommodate all kinds of differences. And actually, this chapter is the continuation of chapter 2. In this chapter, we shall see how the political transition took place after Nehru. Also, we shall see how the opposition unity and the Congress split posed a very big challenge to the Congress rule. Also, in this chapter, we shall see how a new Congress led by Indira Gandhi overcame all these challenges, and also we shall see how new policies and ideologies led to the restoration of the Congress system. Now, let's start the chapter. Now, I request all of you to please arrange a notebook and also a pen so that you can make notes while watching the video. Now, please watch the complete video till the end. Our topic 1 is Challenge of Political Succession. When Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru died in May 1964, people became worried, suspicious, and that had generated a lot of speculation about the usual question of succession. After Nehru, who? But then more serious question arose. What was that? After Nehru, what? Many outsiders began to think about this more serious question. People began to think that, like so many other newly independent countries, India also would not be able to continue democracy. People thought that if India failed to do so, it could lead to a political role of the army. Also, people thought that whether the new leadership would be able to handle the multiple crises, multiple problems that awaited solution. The 1960s were labeled as dangerous decade due to some unresolved problems like poverty, inequality. Communal and regional divisions could lead to a failure of the democratic project or even the disintegration of the country. So it was really a great challenge, so big challenge that the new leader was going to face. Now the new topic starts from Nehru to Shastri. The ease with which the succession after Nehru took place proved all critics wrong. There was a consensus in favor of Lal Bahadur Shastri. He was unanimously chosen as the leader of the Congress parliamentary party and thus became the country's next prime minister. Shastri was a non-controversial leader from Uttar Pradesh who had been a minister in Nehru's cabinet for many years. Nehru had come to depend a lot on him in his last year. That year was 1966. Shastri was the second Prime Minister of India and his tenure was from 1964 to 1966. He could continue till 1966. During his governance, the country faced several challenges like economic crisis due to Indochina War of 1962 and Indo-Pak War of 1965 and failed monsoons, droughts and food crisis, which was symbolized as a famous slogan to resolve the issue like Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. So who gave this famous slogan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan? Lal Bahadur Shastri. Lal Bahadur Shastri died on 10th January 1966 in Tashkent. Now the new topic starts from Shastri to Indira Gandhi. Congress had to face the challenge of political succession for the second time in 2 years. And this was the time of intense competition between Morarji Desai and Mrs. Indira Gandhi. Morarji Desai had earlier served as the Chief Minister of Bombay State and also as a minister at the center. Indira Gandhi, who was the daughter of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, had been the Congress president in the past years, and also had been the Union Minister for Information in the Shastri's cabinet. The senior party leaders decided to support Indira Gandhi, but the decision was not unanimous. The contest was resolved through a secret ballot among Congress MPs, and Mrs. Indira Gandhi defeated Morarji Desai by securing the support of more than two-thirds of the party's MPs. And once again, a peaceful shift or transition of power, despite intense competition for leadership, was seen as a sign of maturity of India's democracy. The senior leaders of the Congress party supported Indira Gandhi in the belief that she would be dependent on them for support and guidance. So they supported her because of their own greed, that they would use her as per their own desire. Within a year of becoming Prime Minister, she had to lead the party in a Lok Sabha election. At this time, the economic situation in the country was too bad, and that added to her problems. But facing all the difficulties, she was ready to gain control over the party to demonstrate her leadership skills. Now, the next topic comes 4th General Elections 1967. The year 1967 is considered as a landmark in India's political and electoral history. If you remember, in chapter 2, the Congress party was the dominant political force throughout the country from 1952 onwards, but that trend had to undergo very significant changes with the elections of 1967. Now, the new topic starts. Context of the elections. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and Lal Bahadur Shastri, the two prime ministers, had died in quick succession, and the new prime minister, who was being seen as a less experienced person in politics. She had been in the office for less than 1 year. This period was marked with grave economic crisis resulting from successive failure of monsoons, widespread drought, decline in agricultural production, serious food shortage, depletion of foreign exchange reserves, drop in industrial production and exports, combined with the sharp rise in military expenditure and diversion of resources from planning and economic development. The government of Indira Gandhi decided to devalue the Indian rupee in order to check economic crisis of 1967. Earlier, $1 US could be purchased for less than 5 rupees, and after devaluation, which cost more than 7 rupees. People protested against essential commodities price rise and unemployment. Now the next topic starts. non-Congressism. Parties which were opposed to the Congress party realized that the division of their votes kept the Congress in power. The parties that were entirely different in the programs and ideologies got together to form an anti-Congress fronts, to form the anti-Congress fronts in some states and entered into electoral adjustments of sharing seats in others. They thought that if they come closer to each other and unite with each other, they would get an opportunity to topple the Congress party. The socialist leader Ram Manohar Lohia gave this strategy the name of non-Congressism. He also produced an argument in its defense. Congress rule was an undemocratic and opposed to the interest of ordinary poor people. Therefore, the coming together of non-Congress parties was necessary for reclaiming democracy for the people of India, as per Ram Manohar Lohia. And now let's move to the next topic. The next topic is electoral verdict. The fourth general elections to the Lok Sabha and state assemblies were held in February 1967. The Congress faced the electoral for the first time without Nehru. Many contemporary political observers described elections results as a political earthquake. The Congress did manage to get a majority in the Lok Sabha, but with its lowest tally of seats and a share of votes since 1952. Half the ministers in Indira Gandhi's cabinet were defeated. The political stalwarts who lost in their constituencies included K. Kamaraj in Tamil Nadu, S.K. Patil in Maharashtra, and Atulya Ghosh in West Bengal, and K.V. Sahai in Bihar. By 1967, their popularity had gone down, and as a result, they became a minority since they were voted out from 9 states. Why do you think that many contemporary political observers described elections as election results as political earthquake? Actually, the results of the general election of 1967 were a shock for the Congress party at the national and the state levels. Most of the ministers in Indira Gandhi's cabinet lost the elections, and also it started the trend of a coalition government. It was the first time a non-Congress party was gaining the majority. And now let's move to the next topic, coalitions. The elections of 1967 brought the picture of coalitions which was formed together by joint legislature parties to be called SVD, that is Samyukt Vidhayak Dal. The SVD in Bihar included the two socialist parties, SSP and PSP, along with the CPI on the left and Janasangh on the right. In Punjab, it was called Popular United Front and comprised the two rival Akali parties at that time. And now let's move to the next topic, defection. What is defection? Defection means an elected representative leaves the party on whose symbol he or she was elected and joins another party. After the 1967 general election, the breakaway Congress legislators played a major role in installing non-Congress governments in 3 states, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. The constant realignments and shifting political loyalties in this period gave rise to the expression Aya Ram, Gaya Ram. Actually, there is a story behind the expression Aya Ram, Gaya Ram. The English translation for this expression is Ram came and Ram went. Actually, the expression originated in an amazing action of floor crossing achieved by Gayalal. He was an MLA in Haryana in 1967. He changed his party thrice in a fortnight, from Congress to United Front, back to Congress, and then within 9 hours to United Front again. When Gayalal declared his desire to quit the United Front and join the Congress, the Congress leader Rao Birendra Singh brought him to Chandigarh press and declared, Gaya Ram was now Aya Ram. Gaya Ram was now Aya Ram. So the expression Aya Ram, Gaya Ram has become a famous expression in the political world, which became the subject of many jokes and cartoons. But later, the constitution was amended to prevent defections. So the next topic is split in the Congress. So the Congress was able to retain power at the center, but with reduced majority and lost power in many states. One more very important thing was revealed about the Congress party, that the Congress could be defeated at the elections. But actually, there was no substitute to the Congress party. Though many non-Congress coalition governments were formed in the states, but they couldn't survive for very long. Next topic is Indira versus the Syndicate. The real challenge to Indira Gandhi did not come from the opposition parties, but from her own party, that is the Congress party. She had to deal with the Syndicate, a group of powerful and influential leaders from within the Congress party. The Syndicate had played a very significant role in the installation of Indira Gandhi as the Prime Minister by ensuring her election as the leader of the parliamentary party. These leaders thought that Indira Gandhi would follow their advice. But gradually, she attempted to assert her position within the government and the party. She selected her trusted group of advisors from outside the party. Slowly and carefully, she sidelined the Syndicate. So, Indira Gandhi faced two big challenges. And these two big challenges were, number one, she had to build her independence from the Syndicate. She also needed to work towards regaining the ground that the Congress had lost in 1967 elections. Indira Gandhi took a very bold step. She converted a simple power struggle into an ideological struggle. She launched several initiatives to give the government policy to give the government a policy of left orientation. Indira Gandhi got the Congress Working Committee to adopt a 10-point program in May 1967. This program included social control of banks, nationalization of general insurance, ceiling on urban property and income, public distribution of food grains, land reforms, and provision of house sites to the rural poor. Syndicate leaders never thought that Indira Gandhi would assert her powers and would take very bold steps that would eventually sideline them. Now the next topic begins. Presidential election 1969. The formal split in the Congress party came into open in 1969 on nomination of candidate of the president's post. Following President Zakir Hussein's death, the post of President of India got vacant that year. Syndicate nominated N. Sanjeeva Reddy as the official Congress candidate for the ensuing presidential elections. Indira Gandhi encouraged V.V. Giri to file his nomination as an independent candidate. She also announced several big and popular policy measures like the nationalization of 14 private banks and the abolition of privy purse of the special privileges given to the former princes. The defeat of the official Congress candidate formalized the split in the party. The Congress president expelled the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi from the party. She claimed that her group was the real Congress. The Congress group led by the Syndicate came to be known as Congress O, that is organization. And the group led by Indira Gandhi came to be known as Congress R, that is requisitionists. These two parties were also described as the Congress, the old Congress and the new Congress. Now, let's move to the next topic, the 1971 election and restoration of Congress. Because of the split in the Congress party, Indira Gandhi's government reduced to a minority. But her government continued in the office with the issue-based support of a few other parties, including the Communist Party of India and the DMK. In order to end her dependence on the other political parties and strengthen the party's position in the parliament and to seek the popular mandate for her programs, her government recommended the dissolution of the Lok Sabha in December 1917, and that was really a very bold step. And this was another very surprising and bold step taken by Indira Gandhi. The fifth general election of Lok Sabha were held in February 1971. The next topic starts, the contest. The electoral contest appeared to be loaded against Congress R. Everyone believed that the real organizational strength of the Congress party was under the command of Congress O. And to make the situation worse for Indira Gandhi, all the major non-communist, non-Congress opposition parties formed an electoral alliance known as the, remember these words, Grand Alliance. The SSP, PSP, Bharatiya Janasangh, Swatantrata Party and the Bharatiya Kranti Dal came together under this one umbrella. The ruling party had an alliance with the CPI. Yet, the new Congress had something that its big opponents lacked. You know what was that? It had an issue, an agenda, and a positive slogan. The Grand Alliance did not have a coherent political program. Indira Gandhi said that opposition alliance had only one slogan, and that was Indira Hatao. But she had very different kind of a slogan, and that was Garibi Hatao. And obviously it was comparatively more attractive for the people. Through this slogan of Garibi Hatao, she tried to generate support base among the disadvantaged, especially among the landless laborers, Dalits and Adivasis, minorities, women and the unemployed youth. So this very attractive slogan, Garibi Hatao, and the programs that followed it were part of Indira Gandhi's political strategy of building an independent nationwide political support base. The next topic, the outcome and after. The results of the Lok Sabha elections of 1971 surprised all. The Congress R won more seats and votes than the Congress had ever won in the first 4 general elections. The combined won 375 seats in Lok Sabha and secured 48.4% votes. Indira Gandhi's Congress R won 352 seats and about 44% of the popular votes on its own. while the Congress O, with so many stalwarts, could get less than 1/4 of the votes secured by Indira Gandhi's party and win merely 16 seats. So, with this victory, the Congress party led by Indira Gandhi established its claim to be the real Congress and restored to it the dominant position in Indian politics. And the grand alliance of the opposition proved grand failure. Their combined tally of seats was less than 40%. And soon after the 1971 Lok Sabha elections, major political and military crisis broke out in East Pakistan. You have read this in chapter 4. In 1971, elections were followed by the crisis in East Pakistan and Indo-Pak war, leading to the establishment of Bangladesh. And these events added to the fame and popularity of Indira Gandhi. Even the opposition leaders praised and admired her statesmanship. Her party swept through all the state assembly elections held in 1972. Her image was made as the protector of the poor and the underprivileged. Also, she emerged as a very strong nationalist leader. So, with the victory in the center and the victory in the state, the dominance of the Congress was restored. The Congress was now in power in almost all states. Within a period of 4 years, Indira Gandhi had turned aside all the challenges to her leadership and to the dominant position of the Congress party. Now the next topic begins, restoration. What Indira Gandhi did was not a revival of the old Congress party, but it was the reinvention of the party. Though the Congress party restored its position that it had in the past, but it was a different kind of a party. It relied completely on the popularity of the supreme leader, and that is Mrs. Indira Gandhi. And this new Congress party did not have many factions, and therefore it couldn't accommodate all kinds of opinions and interests. In order to win the elections, it had to depend more and more on the social groups, the poor, the women, Dalits, Adivasis, and minorities. This was completely a new Congress that had emerged. So we have seen that Indira Gandhi restored the Congress system by changing the nature of the Congress system itself. Though the new Congress became very popular, but it did not have the capacity to absorb all kinds of tensions and conflicts that Congress system was known for during the time of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. While the new Congress party was getting stronger, the spaces for democratic expression of people's aspirations and dreams actually shrank. The popular unrest around issues of development and economic deprivation continued to grow. In the next chapter, we shall see how this unrest led to a political crisis that threatened the existence of constitutional democracy in the country. So, dear children, this is the end of the chapter, and I hope that you have understood it. And in order to understand the chapter fully, I request all of you to please watch this video at least twice. If you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, kindly subscribe and now, and don't forget to press the bell icon so that you don't miss any latest videos. Stay safe, stay happy, study hard. Thank you so much.